Students over here. Yeah. Oh my God, that's right, Maryland, another Eden. I'm telling you, we are an Eden-friendly congregation, right, Autumn? Yeah. Yeah, a lot of Eden regulars. In fact, we had an intern for a year, Lori Corder, who was a seminary student, and she decided she wanted to do her internship here at a synagogue. And it was amazing. We did so much interfaith stuff that year. You remember Lori? Do you remember Lori, who was our intern from Eden? You were, yeah. Yeah, a lot of. I used to teach there when somebody way before your time, when Michael Kinnaman was here. I don't know if you ever heard that name. We taught together. Yeah, you remember Michael. Yeah. But swim was way before that. We met the first, so 1984, 5, no, 82, 3, 82, 1981, 81. So in 1981, there was something called the St. Louis Women in Ministry, and we were it. We were in it together. 1981, that's a long time ago. We were both pregnant. Hello there. Hi, my dear. Thank you. Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos. Hi, Mike. Julie Berger. Oh, yeah. Oh, from the last weekend. Really? What was that doing on Facebook? Did you put it there? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah. Hello. Shabbat Shalom. Got a nice letter from Ed Wright. Remember him? He read Adina's book. Send it to a bunch of people. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for braving the cold of this night. We're especially excited to have two first-year Eden students, and we, the connections with Eden Seminary and CRC go back, way back. Marilyn and I were just saying to 1981. Yeah. So, but we have lots of loving relationships. I actually was the first non-Christian to get a honorary doctorate from Eden. Yeah, it was a big deal, right? Yeah. It was kind of visionary. So many times through the years, I have to say, especially over the Dr. King holiday, we've been here now so many years. I always have to say, we're not Christian here. We're non-Christians. I'm a non-Christian. What does that mean? It doesn't, it's like a funny thing. But otherwise you kind of get, it's like, what does that mean that you're Jewish, right? And you're not, So it's a lot of learning that has gone on over the years, right?
Are you asking?
Huh? Yeah. What? Only one God. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. And that's really what matters. What matters. But we also, as much as we proclaim and celebrate the oneness, we also have to celebrate that we are different, that there are differences. And we have to celebrate those differences, and we have to acknowledge them, and we have to recognize them, and we have to make the space for people to find their truth and their garment and their way of walking in the world. And just pray that they're complementary, that we find ways that bring different gifts each time we do, right? When we do. So thank you for being here, because what happens when we learn more about each other, we deepen in our own faith. And that's what we hope. We hope that our learning together, our praying together, our celebrating together helps us deepen in our own faith, in our own hearts and souls. So we begin. You going to sing a little bit? Yeah. All right. Sing us into Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Huh? Sure, let's begin with Shalom Aleichem. There are 3 Psalms on page 6, right, that kind of draw us into this space of Kabbalat Shabbat, the receiving of this holy time of Shabbat.
First we welcome.
Is it on? I think it is, yeah.
First we welcome the angels. The Malachi Hashari.
Stan's our welcoming committee. Just making sure everybody knows they have a place here. Thank you, Stan.
Of angels, we call them Malachi Hasharet, and a middle pole, Malachi Harachamim, the angels of mercy. The operative word is letter, actually, is a preposition. To, toward. We are moving toward peace in the song. Le shalom. Toward. It makes all the difference. Toward. Shalom Aleichem. Malachi Hashari. Malachi Elyon, Malachi Harachamim, Mi Melech, Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachi Ashalom, Malachi Elyon, Malachi Harachamim, Mi Melech, Malachi Hamlachim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachi HaShalom, Malachi Elyon, Malachi HaRachamim, Mi Melech, Malachi HaMelachim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitichem l'shalom, Malachi HaShalom, Malachi Elyon, Malachi HaRachamim, Mi Melech, Malachi HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Before we welcome the soul, the extra soul, Naomi, do you want to come up with your dad and light the candles? I was going to ask Naomi. We had I can hardly believe, I mean, a minute ago you were a bat mitzvah in the park. We had this amazing bat mitzvah in the park.
That was my sister's.
Oh, it was your sister. Right.
Mine was here before the
Oh,
pandemic.
yours was before the
It's
pandemic. That's right.
2019.
Oh my God. Right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, same family. You know, but I think it's because I remember you so strongly at that bat mitzvah with your sister. Right? But grown up, please light our Sabbath candles for us. If you can figure out
Oh my
how
God.
to turn the thing on. You might
I
want
could
to
use matches.
Right. That's right. Yours was before.
Oh, that way? No, I'm good with matches. Oh. Can I have, wait, how does it work?
You do them both at the same time, Mary. It's hard to do two things at once, but you could do that.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam,
Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu v'hadlik neh.
Beautiful. Thank you. Shabbat shalom. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you for being here. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. You can turn to the people next to you, wish them a Shabbat shalom. A Shabbat shalom. So we've welcomed the angels. We've lit the candles. And now we welcome that extra soul. Reminds us that deep within each of us is that light, the light of the soul. And our job on Shabbat, when we take time, is to grow that light with prayer, with learning, and of course with music. Is that comfortable? Sorry, it's coming back.
Excuse me.
Better?
Try.
We're getting old. We forget things. We get the big picture. It's like sometimes the details, you know.
Now we welcome the additional soul. We call it an extra measure of soul or a deepening of soulfulness. I can see it in your face. In Hebrew, I can see it in your face. Not so much in English, but in Hebrew, I can see it in your face. Within,
Bifnim.
bifnim, in your panim, in your face, your soul. On the Sabbath, on the Shabbos, we get an extra measure of soul. I can see it in your eyes. Yom Zel Yisrael Ora v'simcha Ora v'simcha Ora v'simcha Shabbat Menucha Ora v'simcha Ora v'simcha Shabbat Menucha. The second verse. Chemdat levavot leuma shivura linfashot nichavot neshama yetera minefesh mitzera yasir anacha. Shabbat Menucha Yom Zel Yisrael Ora v'simcha Ora v'simcha Ora v'simcha Shabbat Menucha Ora v'simcha, ora v'simcha, Shabbat Menucha.
Page 8.
We call her a bride, or we call her a queen. We call her the Shekhinah. We call her a quiet inner presence. And on Friday night, we welcome her with a wedding song. She comes looking for her beloved on Friday night. The Shekhinah comes looking for her beloved, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the inner presence and the external, the inner and the external. And on Shabbat, they find their way to each other, some sort of cosmic marriage, a ceremony of cosmic marriage. This is their wedding song. And in the last verse, we greet her. Do we imagine her? Yeah, that's always the point. We turn to the door and we greet her. She's dressed all in white, white wool, cool in the summer, warm in the winter. Come, let us welcome her, the bride. L'chadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamur v'zachor b'dibur echad, ishmiyanu michad Adonai echad. Shemu l'tiferet v'litchila, l'chadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelecha, ki makor ha'baracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof maaseh v'machshavat chila. L'chadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoderi, ki va'orech kumi uri, uri, shir daberi, kivod Adonai alayich nila. L'chadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Boi b'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzot chola, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, boi chala, boi chala, boi chala. L'chadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. 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 L'chadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela.
Please stay standing if you're able, so that we can call each other to prayer with the ancient words of the Baruch Hu. Page 11.
Baruch hu et Adonai ha'mavorach. Baruch Adonai ha'mavorach, ha'mavorach le'olam va'ed. Ha'mavorach, ha'mavorach le'olam va'ed.
Page 15. This is a prayer not from people to God, but from God to people. Shema Yisrael, listen, you God wrestlers, you people who think you know what God is and what God isn't. Adonai Eloheinu, the personal, the global, the universal, Adonai Echad. However you imagine God, and godliness. If you live as one, you'll know.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please be seated as we continue chanting words from Deuteronomy on page 16 together. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meotecha ve'hayu hadavarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha Vashinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, b'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvlektecha v'derech, ushofbecha v'kumecha, ukshartam le'od al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot bein einecha, uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha, Uvisharecha leman tizkaru ve'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kadoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lehiot lechem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem. On page 18, Jim and I did services today, as we do once a month, at the Clarendale, which is a new senior independent memory care assisted living place that's opened up that a lot of CRC members are now living in. And it really struck me today when we got to this prayer, and I said, you know, we had this prayer in the Torah portion last week, but we do it in every service. We sing the same words that Moses and Miriam and all of the people of Israel sang at the shores of the sea, because we had to leave a narrow place. We had to leave everything we knew behind to get into the next chapter of our lives. And I looked out and I saw, you know, people who had been like a well-known psychiatrist in town, and big house, you know, and lots of activity, and here he was at the next chapter of his life, leaving everything. He too had to cross a sea. I looked at some of the people in the room and know that they had rich and full and amazing lives where they did so much for so many, and here they were, leaving everything, downsizing dramatically to get to the next chapter of their lives. So they too had to cross a sea. And I think we all can relate to what it means, wherever we are in our lives, to leave a narrow place behind, to leave something that is no longer working for us, and get to the next chapter. But the beautiful thing that this teaches us is we did it singing. We may not have felt like singing, but we sang nonetheless. And so in every service we remember that time in our people's story when we were stuck. And then for a moment, we dared to dream that we were on a path to freedom with song.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות, אוסף אלה מלאכותך ובניך, בו קים לפני משה. זה אלי, זה אלי, זה אלי, זה אלי, זה אלי, זה אלי, זה אלי ענו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. לעולם ועד. ועד ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגואלו מיד חזק ממנו. As redeemed Jacob and saved him from arms that were stronger than his own, so may you redeem all who are oppressed and persecuted. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Then Miriam, Haniviyah, the prophetess, she took a drum in her hand and we followed her with drums and dancing, and Miriam chanted with us. Shiru le'Adonai ki ga'o ga'a, Shiru le'Adonai ki ga'o ga'a, Shiru le'Adonai ki ga'o ga'a, Shiru le'Adonai ki ga'o ga'a. Sus v'rochvo rama vayam, Sus v'rochvo rama vayam, Shiru le'Adonai ki ga'o ga'a, Shiru le'Adonai ki ga'o ga'a.
Page 20.
Fros aleinu, Sukkot Shalomeka, spread over us the shelter of your peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hapore Sukkot Shalom aleinu v'al kol amu Yisrael. V'al Yerushalayim, v'al Yerushalayim, spread over us the shelter of your peace. Blessed are you who spreads the shelter of peace over us, over all people, and over Jerusalem, Jerusalem. And over Jerusalem, we are praying for the peace of Jerusalem. We are praying for the peace of
Of
Jerusalem, Jerusalem. Page 21. V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש. The children of Israel shall keep the Shabbos, observing it in every generation as a covenant for all time. It is a sign. It is a sign forever between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days the Eternal One made the heavens and the earth, and on the 7th day God rested. Vayinafash. God breathed the soul into creation. Vayinafash. God breathed the soul into creation. Adonai.
Page 23, please.
Sifatai.
I invite you to rise if you're able.
Tiftach, Tiftach, Adonai, Sifatai, Tiftach. Oh God, open up my lips that my mouth may speak a little poetry. Oh, Adonai, Sifatai, Tiftach, 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 Ufi agita hilatecha, so my mouth might speak a little poetry.
Take a little time for our own prayers, the prayers that are here, prayers that you might find in your own hearts. When you're done with your own personal prayers, we invite you to be seated and we'll continue with the service.
needs now. Love, sweet love, it's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now. Love, sweet love, no, not just for some, but for everyone. Lord, we don't need another mountain. There are mountains and hillsides enough to climb. There are oceans and rivers enough to cross, enough to last till the end of time. What the world needs now, love, sweet love, it's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now, love, sweet love, no, not just for some, but for everyone.
Those were good songs. May his memory be a blessing. May his songs live on. A little before your time, Naomi, too. Did you know that one? No. Yeah. Yeah. Someone said they watched the Grammys the other night and they just didn't know anybody until Bonnie Raitt got up. We knew what, you know. But music, it's a universal language, so.
Hato,
Page 29 in the middle.
kilo halu, racha racha mecha, ve'amirachem.
You are compassion.
Hato,
anything.
kilo halu,
You are goodness.
racha racha
You are
mecha.
compassion, and your mercies never cease.
Ki lo tamu,
Grace.
ki lo tamu, ki lo tamu chasadecha. Meolam kivinu la. Meolam kivinu la. Meolam we have always put our trust
Trust.
in you.
Nice. Thanks, Jimmy. That last prayer reminded me of something that happened. We have two wonderful students, first-year students from Eden, here with us tonight. We're so thrilled that you're here. We have, as we said when you came in, many, many Eden connections. When I was teaching at Eden many, many years ago, I taught a class with a man named Michael Kinnaman. And one day I was teaching and I said, we are co-creators with God. And we jump in. We are not witnesses to his history. We are the makers. We're the writers of history as Jews. That is, anti-Hellenism, right? It's Judaism. It's who we are. And Michael Kinnaman went, just like that. Works righteousness, Susan. That's hubris, Where's the grace in all of that, Where's the grace of God? I said, well, yeah, that's a good point. But, we went back and forth again and again on that, and it's and. It's for us, it's really not either or. It's definitely and there's grace too. So I think I'm going to address a little bit of grace in a very short teaching on the portion. I hope Jim will add to it. So the portion this week is Yitro. We're moving our way. We just crossed the sea last week, and now we're in the wilderness. And in the beginning of this portion, everything falls apart. Moses has had it. He's had it with us. He's had it with the whole endeavor. And as if to teach ultimate humility, it is Yitro, Jethro, the priest of the despised Midianites, who comes to save the day. The father-in-law of Moses guides Moses with his wisdom to get help. Moses goes up into the cloud of God and returns with the 10 commandments. The Midrash shows how all 613 commandments are included in these 10. In fact, the commentary says that all of Torah can be found within them. Just as there are 10 let there be's of creation, from these 10 words, all wisdom flows. Just as the 10 let there be's of creation, God gives us, it says, the laws of nature. These 10 utterances give us insight into the laws of human nature and put before us the struggle to choose between the blessing over the curse, choose life over death. These 10 commandments come in a moment of revelation, a moment of clarity that is as true today as it was then. They help us when things are not so clear to live as one, where all boundaries of self and other dissolve, where we are able to go beyond culturally set boundaries and expectations and live knowing that only God is God. Bowing down to my own illusions will only get me into trouble. Knowing that I cannot hurt others without hurting myself, stealing, betraying, lying, and God forbid, killing. Killing another kills a part of myself. Honoring parents who gave us life and keeping the beauty and sanctity of the Sabbath. To remember the moment of freedom by stopping and receiving the miracle of creation each and every week on Shabbat. And then it says, we saw the voices. We saw the sounds, and we learned that in those moments of clarity, we do see sounds and hear the flash of lightning. A whole new way of perceiving is revealed to us in that moment, awakened in us, and not even the thickest darkness of sadness and evil can obscure the clarity. God says, I have carried you on eagle's wings and brought you back to me. God, as a mother eagle, lifts us up out of our limited perceptions, because that's what eagles do, They don't carry like this. They put you on their backs. They lift us up out of our limited perceptions and give us a glimpse of Hakol, the all. We take this to heart, and we are transformed. The Midrash asks why the Torah wasn't given right away. God knows we needed it. And the Pshat, the simple answer, says, we just weren't ready. And the story is told that a ruler had a child who was very sick. And when the child recovered, the tutor returned and asked the child if the child was ready to learn. Not yet. I will feed and nurture and care for my child for a while. And when my child regains strength, then it will be time for learning. So we were nurtured by manna and quail and the clear, pure waters of Miriam's well. And when we were no longer weak slaves, but a strong, free people, Then we were ready for the Torah. Then we were ready to learn the law that would set us free again and again and again. It took 7 weeks from the time we left Egypt till the time we received the Torah. Why 7 weeks? Each day, it says, from Pesach to Shavuot, from the Exodus to the receiving of Torah, we had to ascend 7 times, 7 through the 49 levels, to 7 times 7, the 49 levels to reach God's grace. The Kabbalists say that we had lived so long as slaves that we had to ascend 49 levels through the Sfirot, the attributes of God. We had to ascend through both the Din side, the judgment side, and the Rachamim side, the compassion side, the Chesed side, the mercy side, and the Gevurah side, the strength side. Each day ascending higher, leaving impurity and the immorality of slavery behind. Each day getting closer to the mountain where we would all at once get that glimpse, that revelation of the all, and see the sounds and hear the sights, leaving narrowness and pettiness behind, and know that oneness, that grace. As slaves, we were separated, you see, by the great separator, whose name Pharaoh actually means the separator. But nearing Sinai means leaving the separateness behind. God speaks to us as Adonai Elohechem, the God of all of you. And why does it say in the first commandment, Anochi Adonai Elohecha, in the singular? Because for a moment at Sinai, loving each other with one single heart, we were one. And so here's my nod to my friend Michael Kinnaman. The law actually leads us to grace, and grace leads to the law. For us, it is one. This is the heart of our halakha, our word for law. Our word for Jewish law, halakha, comes from the word to walk, because it tells us how to walk in the world, and this is how we experience grace. For us, the law guides us to grace. We learn that these laws are the path to grace because to unleash compassion, we need to have a glimpse of the all, the whole, because this allows us to dare to see and hear and feel the world from the view of the other. It says that the words were charut, engraved on the tablets. One could read the word charut as cherut, meaning freedom. So having the verse read that freedom was on the tablets, freedom from what, the Midrash asks? Well, the first answer that the rabbis give, that the commentary gives, is freedom from the angel of death. But it can also be freedom from the things that separate us, another kind of death. For us, the engraving of the law, the charut, the engraving, the word that's used to tell us about the engraving the law into the stone, leads to charut, leads to freedom, the word for freedom. The freedom to experience the oneness, the grace, the unconditional love that is if we let it be. For us, it is not law or grace, it is law and grace. The law is meant to create a world that is safe enough for us to trust and act with grace toward all creation. And as liberal Jews, we understand the law to be dynamic. Halakha, a way to walk in the world that guides us in everything we do, from tying our shoes to thinking about what we can eat and what we can't eat, and how to treat each other. Channeling always as much grace as we possibly can. Would you add something to that? You got a poem? You got a song? All right. A song and then a mishaberach, a healing prayer. A healing prayer.
These are both Yitro poems.
Yitro? Oh, those are good. Oh, this was when we were in India. This is a good one. Yitro, Jethro, known not as the priest of Midian, but as the father-in-law of Moses, because really, ultimately, we are known by our relationships. That's what's most important, right? Who we're connected to, who we, mother and sister and parent and grandparent and sacred partner with. This is who we are. So it says, Yitro listened. All of us could be humbler. We could live inside each other. For a while, give up our certainty and earn the heart of understanding. We could say, there is no other until we believed it. We could take a God's eye view, become small, live within the skin of someone who we do not understand. We could all be quieter, sit within our heart lines, and let the truth rise before us. We could find our quiet, live in that quiet for a while. We could all be kinder, reserve judgment, delay certainty, live with ambiguity. What if we acted as if something fine is approaching and we could be preparing, waiting, quiet? If we were quieter, we might find our silence. We could step back from the edge and do nothing until it became clear what to do, what not to do, as long as it takes. That's a good one.
If I should ever go away, well then choose the rise and see, to feel the way we do today. And then if you can remember, keep smiling, keep shining, knowing you can always count on me. For sure, that's what friends are for good times and bad times, I'll be on your side forevermore. That's what friends are for.
Shabbat, a healing prayer. Certainly we send our broken hearts to the people of Turkey and Syria, praying for healing for those who are surviving this terrible disaster there. So many places that we need to pray for. The streets of our cities, to the places destroyed by disaster. People who are afraid to walk our streets, we pray for healing. And we have people that we pray for regularly, for Meredith Berkowitz and Rebecca Wodiak and Susan Mondello and Mimi Graff, Norman Antonopoulos and Jack Finney and Michael Sorakis, Brian Nog and Kayla Adams and Janice Garbayo and Celeste Dresens and Randy Spencer and Jerry Livingston and Carolyn Hyman, Tenzi and Jacqueline Cherry, Rachel Neubauer Bogart and Debbie Gordon and Martin Fay and Robert Shepard and Ellen Holtzman Langston, Eileen Ehrlich and Eleanor Levy and Joan Butcher and Sherry Kroner, Jimmy Bricker, Sage Ferraro Doty, Patricia Nelson, Debbie Zorensky, Mary Holtz, and I'd like to add a prayer for our friend John's sweetheart, Vivian. If there are any people that you'd like to add? Any names you want to say outside, Eileen?
Fonda Christopher, she's having terrible nerve problems.
Oh, poor Fonda.
Terrible pain.
Thank you.
Find a solution.
Pray for her. Love Fonda. Thank you. Anyone else have a name they'd like to add? Yeah. Thank you, Marilyn. Lisa? Pray for them. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Sarah? Yeah. I know we all know people that we hold in our hearts, even if we don't say their names out loud. Prayer, I don't know, heightens our awareness maybe. And not quite sure how it works, but at least we know we're doing what we can. I don't know, Autumn, do you have names?
Ed Wagner. Ed Wagner.
Thank you. Okay. For all these good people, once again, we invoke the angels and ask them to come and help us bring healing to the sick.
Refuat HaNefesh, Refuat HaGuf, for the healing of the spirit and the healing of the body. For those we know, for those we don't know. On my right, the angel Michael. On my left, the angel Gabriel. In front of me, the angel Uriel, Uriel, Uriel. Behind me, the angel Raphael. Above my head, above my head, above my head, above my head, Shekhinah. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim, blessed are you, great healer. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. And if you're able, we'll invite you to rise so we can face east. I know that we'll have names from East Jerusalem. Unfortunately, more killing and more senseless violence. So our custom is to face east towards Jerusalem and pray that that city of peace, where Jews and Muslims and Christians and really all people should know better and should be living in peace together. Jimmy's other poem that he handed me was from a Havdalah that we did a Havdalah in Cochin. I remember we were sitting outside, and this is must have been where you wrote this, but it was this Torah portion. It's short. It just says, Cochin, on January 18th, 2014, there's a security guard listening just outside our Havdalah circle, India. On the portion when Jethro, the outsider, brings down the wisdom that turns him into the insider. Jethro, togethering, unifying, India. Alan from Australia says, God is in everywhere, India. Jean found a shrine shown to her by two proud Muslim girls dedicated to a Mikubal, a Hebrew saint claimed by Muslims, Hindus, Jews, India. The synagogue shares a wall with a Hindu temple. We are in India, where the Jews and Christians and Muslims and Hindus at times, in some places, have one set of footprints. Vayichad, Yitro, 18:9. Yitro, Jethro, unified, all the good. Aleinu l'shabech ladon hakol, la'tzet gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu kamishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chalkeinu kachem, vegor aleinu kachol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim, u'modim, Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu V'ne'emar V'haya Adonai L'melech al kol haaretz Bayom hahu Yiyeh Adonai echad U'shemo echad. Please be seated. Just a few announcements. I'm not even sure, let's see what they are. But on March 2nd, right here, the St. Louis book launch of our daughter Adina's book, Your Hearts, Your Scars. We hope everybody will come. Ron Himes of the Black Rep is going to have his actors do the readings of some of the chapters of her book. They were dear friends. And Brothers Lazaroff will play, and of course we'll have some of Jimmy's poetry, as we always do, I hope. And, the editor is coming into town. The co-editor with Sarika is coming into town, so we're planning that. Looks like February 11th, there's a board game potluck Shabbat. That sounds fun, in person. Repro Shabbat, Friday, February 17th with Senator Tracy McCreary. We gotta get serious. They're even gonna now outlaw the medicines. That just can't happen. It just can't happen. So, and pretty soon we'll have a program describing the lawsuit that I'm a part of. That is suing the state of Missouri for being stupid. What else to say? Yeah, I don't know what else to say. And also, we've got to pay attention to what they're trying to do to our trans kids. We just have to pay attention. It's just not okay. It's not okay. Responsible parents, responsible communities are taking care of kids and finally making it okay for our kids to be who they are. And it's up to us to protect them. We are here to protect those kids, so we cannot let the state be stupid, because that's really what it is. It's just not okay. And our kids are depending on us to get their backs and to be there to protect them. And we've got to figure out a way to. I know Rabbi Daniel is in Jeff City every other day, it seems like. But we have to figure out a way to do more. It's not okay. So lots of things to participate in, to pay attention to, lots of learning going on. Jimmy's Inner Judaism every Wednesday night. Our Lo Shanda group every Sunday at 1 o'clock. If you know anybody that's suffering from mental illness or lives with people with mental illness, please join us. We're on Zoom, but it's a very lovely, intimate group, and grateful for that group as well. So that's what I know, and check the website. There's lots of stuff always going on. And now we turn to those people who have died at this time in years past, and we welcome you who have come to say Kaddish, you who are remembering someone who's died in this past year, and also have a yard site at this time. We'll invite you to stand first so we can hear the names of the people that you've come to remember. It's your father's yard site, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, I hope you...
Also, my father. It's been 6 years.
6 years. I hope you felt him at that amazing bat mitzvah, b'nai mitzvah. Yeah, they were amazing. Your child really taught us well. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And Nancy?
My father
We can't say enough times he was 105 and a great teacher and a real inspiration. Thank you for remembering him with us. Is it Paul? We feel their absence here. We really do. Thank you. Michelle. So nice to think of her. Yeah, she always did. Thank you. May his memory be a blessing. Thank you for remembering him with us. Appreciate that. Mike? For Bear, thank you. I think that was his seat, right? Right. Sarah? Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Let's stand together. I know that Steve has brought a list also from Israel. Did I miss anybody that was standing? Did I miss anybody? Steve? Oh, that's right. It's hard to believe it's February 12th? Is that what it was? Yeah, I know. It's the same time as my mother. Yeah. Oh, it was the coldest day. Oh my God, it was such a cold day. We still have to dedicate that stone. We're going to wait till it's warm.
In Jerusalem earlier today, just before Shabbat, my family was waiting at a bus stop. The Shabbat has ready to go celebrate the Sabbath. And a terrorist deliberately went to the bus stop and ran them over. 8 people were wounded, 2 people were killed. Alter Shlomo Lederman, 20 years old. Yaakov Israel Ali, 6 years old.
Thank you. 6 years old. Thank you. Thank you.
Susie? Dorothy Newstead. Dorothy Newstead.
I remember her. Thank you. We have some names from the chat. Jimmy, would you
Kathy DeWinter.
say them out loud?
Dorothy Newstead and Kathy DeWinter.
Thank you. I'd also like to mention Mayor Mitchell and Golda Goldstein, Gaga, Harriet Blickenstaff's mother, Shirley Gaga, and of course Emily Engelhart, we said, Irving Meltzer, we said, Dorothy Bogard, the grandmother of our Rabbi Bogard, who he was named for. Daniel was named for his grandma Dorothy, and I know that because I was there at his bris to do that naming. That's why I know he was named for his grandma Dorothy, not his grandfather Daniel. He was named for Dorothy. For Lillian Zuhl and Andrew Angster, 16 years old, tragedy. Elmer Wagman, David Grebler, David Portman. I see Kathy DeWinter and Monty Ross. And most recently, we have Faye Zimmerman, Al Baker, Renee Deal, Martin and Francis Ilovicki, and George Newman, and Nina Balsam, Josh Porter, Betty Renee Marver, Alice Handelman, Sylvia Ginsparg, David Kaskowitz, Larry Mange, Bert Garland, Baer, we've mentioned Paul Schumer, Daniel Williams, Patty Twellman, Bruce Schneider. These are all in the past year. Nikki Nymark, Lois Chait, David Adelstein, Bert Newman, Maurice Guller, Harvey Fenster, Kathy Lass, and Lois Loomstein, Jay Summer, Ben Neiman, Jerry Maydall. And of course, all of those we've lost in this terrible tragedy in Turkey and Syria. Numbers unbelievable to imagine, really. I'd heard today, and I don't have their names, but there was one village that was particularly hit hard, and the head of the Jewish community, the heads of the Jewish community were found crushed. And they were found by, I couldn't quite understand it, but it said that there was an Israeli and a Palestinian search team. It almost made it sound like they were together, which I would like to think that, but that's who found this couple who were the leaders of the Jewish community in this particular town in Turkey. Also, I'd like to mention Harry Prince, whose funeral I did today. Harry was a Holocaust survivor when he was 10 and 11 years old. He was living in a ghetto, but he had green eyes and light hair. So during the day, he would sneak out of the ghetto and he would buy train tickets for the people in the ghetto. And he would smuggle them out and get them other places other than the ghetto to get them away to save their lives. He would go back to the ghetto at night, and he was there when the ghetto was liquidated, so he ended up in a concentration camp, but somehow he survived, made it to St. Louis, and decided to go one day to the airport with someone who was welcoming another survivor who had been in Auschwitz. And he took one look at Alice and fell in love. The two of them were married for almost 60 years, and they chose life. You know, he was uneducated, he became a plumber, had a nice plumbing company. His son said today at the funeral, "My uneducated father did much better than his overeducated sons." But that's all he wanted. He wanted for his children, his grandchildren, and now his great-grandchildren to have a better life than he did, and that's what he did. He lived forward into life, and it was really a privilege to officiate at his funeral today, as I did for his wife some years ago. We're losing our survivors, but we're not losing their stories. We need to remember their stories. What his son said today, "My father was an ordinary man who lived an extraordinary life." What a thing to say. What a thing to have done. So for all those we've mentioned, for all those we hold in our hearts, please join us in the words of the Kaddish, words that celebrate life and love, and in that way defy death. We say, Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma zivrach yerutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon u'v'yom echon, u'v'chayedachol be'Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv ve'imru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yat hadar, v'yat talei, v'yat talal, shmei tekudasha b'richu. Le'ila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alma ve'imru, amen. Yehei shlom rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'rumav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen.
Ve'imru, 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 amen. Ve'imru, ve'imru, ve'imru,
by putting our arms around each other to give each other a blessing. There should be an oneg out there. I hope everybody is able to stay for a little bit and schmooze.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God keep you safe, give you peace.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
May there be grace, bringing the upper worlds and the lower worlds a little closer together, that we begin to feel the grace of God's love.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
And may we all be inspired to be the best versions of God we can be, so we can know a little shalom, a little more peace in our hearts, our homes, our communities, and God willing, soon, for all creation and all people.
Kate, Kate,
Amen. Shabbat shalom.